What's happening, guys? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Great League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing another very fun team that I came up with, featuring Poliwrath, Clodsire in the safe swap, and Trevenant. I found Clodsire to be a really good safe swap, and we're going to be showcasing it here in this video. You're going to see a couple of times where Clodsire just hangs on by the skin of its teeth, and just about takes switch, and gets a lot of moves off. A lot of times you're either getting shield advantage or switch advantage. In this first match, we have a Dragonite, which is pretty negative for Poliwrath. We do get off the Icy Wind, debuff the opponent's attack, and come into Clodsire. In this recent Great League rotation, I've seen a lot of flying dragons and flyers in general, things like Talonflame. So I've decided to put on Poison Sting, Stone Edge. I found that Mudshot would not be that sort of useful for what I'm seeing, and you're pretty much still able to beat Lantern anyway, so you don't really need Mudshot in my personal opinion. I think Poison Sting, Stone Edge, and Earthquake is the best current moveset. In comes the Ninetales, very, very awkward. The one good thing here is that they're on Powder Snow. So yes, of course they're doing super effective to Trevenant, but Poliwrath is actually resisting the moves, and unless they have like a Psyshock or a Dazzling Gleam, we should be fine with Poliwrath. I decided to throw in Poly here, and basically look to absorb the damage. They go for a Psyshock, which kind of surprised me. Nobody ever runs that move. But we do outpace to the move, and that's going to be good games, well played nonetheless. Guys, I want to say big happy Christmas, and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day here. The opponent is getting into another move. This is going to be just a race. Yeah, we actually CMP on the move. Very close match, good games well played to my opponent. And like I said, everybody, happy Christmas. By the time this video goes up, it'll be Christmas night in America, and it'll be Boxing Day in the UK. Big happy Christmas to everybody, and I hope you all enjoy the video. If you do, go ahead and drop a like, it's very much appreciated. And of course, subscribe if you have not yet done so. I think about 60% of people who regularly watch these videos are not yet subscribed, so if you're one of those, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, it's absolutely free. But yeah, I've been just chilling, enjoying Christmas here basically for the last couple of days. It's been pretty fun, got my kids a Nintendo Wii for Christmas. They're only 5 and 3 years old, so they don't need anything like too crazy. My dad's been over here from Northern Ireland, and a pretty funny story, I went to meet him at the airport a couple of days ago, had a pretty rough time getting through the airport. My dad, he had 3 suitcases, well a carrying bag and 2 suitcases. They actually stopped him for customs and checked for everything. So it turned out he didn't get free customs until about 11:30 PM. He arrived at like 20 past 10, so he was in there for over an hour. Funny enough, in Japan there's an amazing rail system, but the rails were stopping. We actually had to run to the train station. As soon as I seen him coming out, you know, everybody's all holding up signs like, yo, welcome home, big hugs, big hugs. I'm like, yo, come on, we have to go. We have to go. I grabbed a suitcase and started running to the train station, so it's been pretty eventful. And of course, just having a good time here with the family. I was actually working yesterday on Christmas Day. I teach English here, so it's definitely been quite an interesting Christmas holiday. By all means, let me know how your Christmas has been in the comments down below. But hopping back into the battles here, I think we've got about 20 minutes of battles for you here today. Did they put in top left there? I guess they did. The thing I like about this team is pretty much all 3 Pokemon can do something against the dragons. You've got the Stone Edge and Earthquake from the Clodsire for the flying dragons, or of course, you can just Earthquake and one-shot the Dragonair. Poliwrath, Icy Wind, and Trevenant resists like Body Slam, Aqua Tail, and of course can do a lot of damage with Shadow Ball. I've seen a lot of dragons recently, so I definitely wanted to build a team that was a little bit strong against them. This team has its weaknesses, namely the most obvious one is Gligar. If you see a Gligar, you sort of have to try and deal with it with your Poliwrath if you can, because pretty much like they have to shield an Icy Wind, so you can shield up like the first 2 moves or whatever, like shield up once, get off an Icy Wind, they'll be forced to shield up again, go for another Icy Wind, you'll be down to the zeros. And at that point, Clodsire can basically deal with it at that stage. One Stone Edge from that point, you know, after countering it down into like Stone Edge range, one Stone Edge will take it out, and the opponent will be double or triple debuffed. So it's kind of awkward if you catch it in the wrong place towards the end of the match. It can be awkward. From full health, Gligar, it's going to require about 3 or 4 Stone Edges to take out. I think 3 Stone Edges gets it very, very low, but it's going to be quite hard to Poison Sting down. So that's a Pokemon you're definitely going to have to dance around. As for the other flyers, of course with Stone Edge, you completely wreck Talonflame with Clodsire. Poliwrath does fine against Talonflame. Trevenant, of course, it's quite rough, but you can land a Shadow Ball and almost take it out. So in the zeros, you beat it with Trevenant. You can beat it with Poliwrath, depending on if they call beats or whatever. And of course, you can just debuff the crap out of it, get it down to 0 shields, come into Clodsire and deal with it. That's kind of the strategy against flyers. With Skarmory, you just straight up beat it with Poliwrath, so I'm not too worried about flyers on this team. The opponent sees our Trevenant in the top left, get shit on Carbink. Alright, so here hopping into this next one with Poliwrath versus Poly. What I like to do in this matchup here is go straight for the Icy Wind. If you go straight for the Icy Wind, it basically guarantees that you win the match if you win CMP, or if you get this off first. And what I even like to do, this is like an evolving strategy of mine, I like to shield up the first move now. Usually if you Icy Wind them first, they'll go for the Scald. And as you can see, we still have a lot of health here. I'm going to go straight for this next Icy Wind. So it means we're actually getting a shield back off them, and we can just no shield this and counter it down. Oh, I actually shield this one. I don't really like this that much. They end up coming into their Licky. So we are debuffed. Licky versus Clodsire. Fairly close matchup in the zeros. So I decided to sort of tilt it in my favour here. From what I've noticed, to take out a Licky with Clodsire, you will need about 3 moves anyway. So I think from this range, if you're ever in this position where you've got them roughly half health, go for double Stone Age. Or you can go for like 1 Earthquake and 2 Stone Ages, as far as I can tell. Licky is very, very thick, but we've debuffed it and they're just doing minimal damage to us now. So as you can see, yeah, that Stone Age is about half of their remaining health. 1 Earthquake would not have killed them. It also wouldn't have put them in a position where we could have farmed them down super easily. So I think, yeah, from here, 2 Stone Ages is the play. Or an Earthquake and 2 Stone Ages. Probably if you're running Sludge Bomb, because it's a stab attack, you probably go triple Sludge Bomb. But because we overfarmed, I've actually put myself in a position where I'm going to go for a bait, make sure they have to further energy. And they actually call it. That's so savage, dude. That's so savage. Sometimes it's very easy to think like, okay, I just go for this bait, it's going to force them to further energy sooner. But then sometimes you have to think that maybe that's their win con. You know, like they're in a rough position here, maybe that's their win con. So maybe I'm just handing free wins out here just by not going straight for the move. Because I have a Poliwrath, and I could have just swapped into it a lot sooner. So there you go, I just kind of threw that match if you think about it. I could have maybe come into my Poly a little bit sooner. But I decided to go for a bait. It was maybe completely unnecessary. But I think just the opponent has just absolutely fucking huge nuts for calling that. So I just gotta say fair play to the opponent. You know, I was pretty annoyed with myself thinking like, oh, that's like such a bad bait, why did I do that? But if you really think about it, like the opponent just made a great call. In this next match, it's Skarmory. Skarmory, we're gonna CMP it on the potential. It's not gonna be Brave Bird, it's gonna be Sky Attack. They never go straight Brave Bird here. I do think you live a Sky Attack from full health. Maybe just about. You don't necessarily have to shield it. I decided to farm up here and go into Trevenant. Now, they go for Mud Bomb there, so that's good. But if they go for a Scald, they can make it a little bit dicey with Trevenant, believe it or not. You're going to see here, if they do get the Scald through, it's going to get us down to probably, let's say, 30%, 40, 35%. As you can see, this is starting to get dicey. So what I've seen happen a few times is they'll get off that first Scald, and then they'll, start shielding and start trying to make it awkward. Because once they land that damage, Mud Bombs are quite threatening. Like an absolute potato, I let that move go. I don't agree with letting that go. I think I should have definitely at least fought it out a little bit harder. The one good thing is though, what I probably decided at the time, is that Clodsire can deal with the remainder of that thing, and they come in with Dragonair anyway. So this is absolutely fine. Maybe that was the correct play, just to let that go. We go for the Icy Wind. I think I'm trying to force the opponent to throw. To be perfectly honest here, I should have been swapping out. I don't know why I'm staying in here. I've been doing some of these battles here, like sitting on the sofa with the family or whatever. Just over Christmas, I've not really been locked in doing the battles like upstairs or whatever. So that's probably why I'm playing like an absolute potato here, to be honest. I shouldn't have let them counter me the whole way down there. Stone Age, well, that'll take it out, and yeah, we basically just need to save a shield, because they'll probably get to 2 moves here. Aquatula coming through. I think they had a lot of energy, because they didn't throw the second move on the Poly. So yeah, GG's. Clodsire too thick, and like I said, like it's just such a good Pokemon. It's so bulky, it can absorb an absolute ton of damage, and once again we get another fantastic lead here. It's fantastic in the sense that Poly can beat this thing, and also Clodsire's not going to have to see it. Now you guys are going to see here, I'm pretty sure Whiscash wins the zeros, because these Mud Bombs start adding up. So what I was starting to think was, and the Skull doesn't KO either, what I'm starting to think is, the best way to play this matchup might just be shield up the first move and Icy Wind it and counter it the whole way down. That way you can just eat the second moves. Yeah, in comes Skarmory. So yeah, a little bit awkward. I guess I could have let that go, but I always do like keeping health on Poly, especially against a Whiscash lead, because as you're witnessing here, they've come in with a Skarmory, Mudboy Double Flyer, very, very common. It's a team comp as old as time, but I decide, okay, we're going to shield this, counter it the whole way down, try to permanently debuff something, or, you know, of course, get off a lot of damage on a potential Talonflame. I go for 1 and throw, because I wasn't sure if I would live the Incinerate or not. I should have just went for 2 and throw. We actually do end up getting this off, so yeah, pretty bad timing there. Once again, playing like an absolute potato here. We do finally swap out, and at this point they can throw whatever they want, because it's going to be debuffed. I go for a nice overfarm here, and look to get off the Stone Age. I can live any one move from Talonflame. They'll have to basically like Flame Charge and Brave Bird, but I just don't think they're going to get to that in time. Flame Charge coming through. They probably have Fly anyway. I just go for 1 and throw, because I know the Stone Age will take out. That's going to be good games well played. So yeah, as you guys can see, we're playing like a little bit of a potato here, but that's absolutely fine. We can't play perfectly all the time, you know, when you're just chilling, playing on the sofa or whatever. You just chill, it's whatever. As you can see, I'm sitting around 2420. I had a horrible week last week in the Holiday Cup. It was brutal. I went all the way down to 2200, so sitting in a decent elo range, chilling, getting some content out. I'm pretty happy at the minute, to be honest with you. Once again, we have a Poliwrath lead. We do win CMP, which is nice. And by the way, the reason I started using this team is a team I was using in my alt account, and it was actually doing really well. It got my alt account from 2000 to like 2300s or like 2350 even. So I was like, you know what, I don't really know what to run in Great League at the moment. I've got another team I'll showcase tomorrow, and if you guys have any Great League battles you want to send in, feel free to do so. We do have 2 weeks of it. So you're seeing me play this matchup a little bit differently now. This is another way to play it. If you don't want to go down shields and you want to just sack your poly and just, you know, take switch advantage, you can do it that way as well. In comes Galvantula, guys, and Clodsire just absolutely dicks all over this thing, bro. The opponent goes for a catch on Gligar, and now you guys are seeing Gligar on a team. This is a little bit awkward for sure. What I decided to do here is stay in with Clodsire. We've got 2 shields, we've got a bit of an energy lead, and as you can see, just about 3 Stone Edges will KO. They do about probably 30% each, and the Poison Stings will eventually add up over time. The opponent here is going to YOLO a dig, and we're going to go ahead and shield that. And now what I decide is I'll come in with my Trevenant. I can definitely live an Aerialius and get off at least 1 Seed Bomb, and at that point that'll put us in a position where we can look to sweep with the Clodsire. The Shadow Claw damage will basically put it into Stone Edge range, and yeah, the opponent will farm us down. But we don't need any shields for Galvantula. If you think of the moveset they have, Discharge and Lunge, completely resisted, right? We don't need any shields for Galvantula. We just need to get rid of this Gligar. The opponent comes in here. This is going to be just a Lunge. So perfectly safe here, but it's an Energy Ball apparently. The opponent got a ton of farm earlier. Do they get to another Energy Ball? They do not. Who the hell's running Energy Ball? Anyway, good games nonetheless. Clodsire is just too thick. It's going to take that out, no problem. And I think we might have just lived another Energy Ball. It would have been very, very close, but I think we might have just lived it. Very, very good lead in the next one, and they come into Wigglytuff, and we come into our Clodsire. I think this is a stupid team. I end up throwing an alignment like a potato. Right, here's a little tip for you. Let's say if you get a good lead and the opponent swaps out and they're using a free turn move, normally you throw 1, 4, 7, but whenever they swap in, you throw on 2, 5, and 8. Because the 1 turn swap basically makes it awkward. It might not be 2, 5, 8. If you throw an 8, it'll definitely be fine. Generally, just throwing 1 more fast move will make the timing good compared to what it normally is. The opponent goes for an Icy Wind. I should have shielded that first move. I do build up to back-to-back Stone Edges here, but I sort of regret letting this get so low. Had I been thinking about it, we have a Lickitung lead. We have a Wigglytuff safe swap. It should be pretty obvious what they have in the back, and this is going to be a little bit awkward. In comes Poliwrath, in comes Ninetales. Once again, guys, I should have probably stayed in there to Icy Wind them, just to make this a little bit more comfortable for Trevenant, make it a lot easier to get off 2 moves. Also, like, of course, we would have took a ton of damage on the Poly. But, you know, we can deal with this with Trevenant, so maybe this is not too bad. We do get it off in 1 HP. So this is perfectly fine now. Staying in with Poly would have been a mistake. Now, the problem with Lickitung versus Poly is, in the zeros, they know Power Whip. We're getting them quite low. Can we survive a Power Whip and get off this move and potentially take them out? We do survive the Power Whip, but unfortunately, guys, this Scald is not going to be quite enough, and the opponent's going to live on, yeah, they're only like a couple of counters away from KO. Maybe 3 more counters would have done it. I sort of wish I held on to my Clodsire a little bit more there. Poliwrath versus Lickitung once again. Okay, do we have a Wigglytuff safe swap? We have a Poliwrath safe swap. So what I decided to do here is just go straight for an Icy Wind. And I think what I'm going to look to do, what I should do at least, is come into Trevenant. Okay, we're staying in here. I've played this team a little bit more since, you know, this first recording. Okay, so I eat the Scald first and then come in Trevenant. That's quite interesting, actually, because of course they would be able to get off 2 Icy Winds. So I guess I want to try to go for a farm down. Poly's quite thick though with the Icy Wind. That really makes it a lot thicker, so I'm not even able to get that off. So yeah, that just sort of shows you the power of Poly. It's even very awkward for Trevenant. It's decently thick. Icy Winds really add up. They do about 70% to Trevenant. And the good thing here is the opponent's getting quite minimal farm. I decided to shield up the first move. It's going to be a Body Slam. And we're going to look to see what the opponent wants to come in with. They come into Medi. I'm going to go for an Icy Wind here. Debuff the opponent's attack. And basically come in and start feasting with the Clodmeister. Now from this range, 1 Earthquake does not quite KO. I'm going to shield up the first move thinking it might be a Psychic. Or even an Ice Punch will do more damage than a Body Slam from Licky. That's my thinking here. Try to shield up the hardest hitting move. Even though debuffed, probably does about the same, if not more, than what the Licky can throw. Maybe a Power Whip will do more. Maybe that's a bit of a sort of miscalculation there, but these Ice Punches, not really adding up enough. And by the looks of it, folks, we're just going for the hard farm down on Medi. This is a bit of a tricky farm down, but they are debuffed, so it's not too awkward. In comes Licky. What I decide here from this range is that I'll probably need to throw at least 2 moves, and they're probably going to shield anyway. So come in here with Poly, basically want to try and get them into Stone Edge range, and of course go for 1 more Icy Wind, which will debuff the opponent's attack. We are super low, so the opponent doesn't get a ton of farm, and we're basically chilling here. We're almost at the Stone Edge. What I could possibly do here, yes, I can't really afford to need another Body Slam. So I think what I need to do here is just get rid of this, and hope that I can farm the Medi down before they get to an Ice Punch. We do get a lag here, but the opponent's still here. The opponent is super, super low. Are they getting to an Ice Punch in time here? They are not. I think that was 5 Poison Stings, so they probably just died with the move. Good games well played, and like I said with Clodsire, it just hangs on. You just get those last second moves off, you can just outfarm things. In this next match, once again, we have Skarmory. I quite like this as a lead for Poly. You basically get off a Scald, shield once, farm the whole way down. You resist the fast moves, so as a flyer, this is not an answer to Poly. They come into with Static Cash, and what I'm thinking here is, okay, we're going to put our phone in the charger because we're 15% battery, but I'm also thinking we're going to farm up to almost back to back here, go for the CMP tie, and see what the opponent actually wants to do. Do they want to shield and try and get this down a little bit lower? They do not. And see, here's the thing, right, with Trevenant versus Skarmory, Shadow Balls do a lot of damage. I probably could have got away with a Seed Bomb, but I just wasn't risking it. I should have just went Seed Bomb. There's no need to go Shadow Ball here. We do get off 2 moves no matter what. So yeah, basically if the opponent wants to get off moves, they're going to have to shield twice for it, which they do not. And they come into an Azu, we come into the Clodsire. The opponent is not aware of my moveset, so they're just top left, bro. GG's well played. Sometimes you just gotta throw it in there and see what happens. We definitely can... 2 Ice Beams gets us quite low, to be fair. So we definitely do need to land an Earthquake and a Stone Edge. So definitely a little bit tricky there. But actually, Poly versus Azu is not quite as bad as you would think. And here we're going to see it in this next match. We go for the aggro swap, and we're actually going to see this perfectly because the opponent's going to go for the Ice Beam. I go for the Overfarm, so I don't throw in bad timing, and Ice Beam coming through. As you can see, 2 of those will, with the bubble damage, will just about take us out. The opponent comes into a Ferrothorn of all things. I'm thinking here, right, okay, we can live basically any one move off this thing. We're going to look to go for an Earthquake on it. This one Earthquake will do a decent amount of damage, and unfortunately they will be able to farm us down. However, we do still have a Trevenant, we do still have a Poly. We're up a shield. Can we even make it to another Earthquake? We can make it to a Stone Edge. I don't think I was making it to the Earthquake. I think that Bullet Seed that went through does KO, yeah. And the opponent's got a ton of energy, so I come into Trevenant here. The opponent here, they're going to go off a Power Whip, or so I thought. They're going to go for Flash Cannon. Guys, needless to say at this point, I was pretty pissed. I just let go of the Flash Cannon on my Trevenant. And of course, I don't know what that's for. Is that for Carbink? Like, I don't know what that's meant to be for. Why would you not want Thunder for some flyer coverage on a Ferrothorn? Especially in a meta that's got quite a lot of Talonflames. Like, if you were able to farm something down and get off a Thunder, that would be quite nice. This is kind of awkward now, guys. They have a Reggie, which more or less can one-shot the Poly. They have Azumarill here. We do get the debuff from the first Scald, which is pretty huge. And I decide, okay, we need to basically overfarm a little bit. Maybe at some point try to get out of this matchup, try to get back into Trevenant. I go for an Icy Wind, just to make sure I can live this next Poliwrath very comfortably. And I'm basically just trying to burn the timer at this point. The opponent ends up shielding the Icy Wind, which is quite huge here. Had they let that go, this might have been just a little bit of trouble. I'm going to look to go for an overfarm. We're going to fire off this next move. And I think what I need to do here is basically come into my Trevenant. I, like an absolute potato, throw the Seed Bomb. This is a massive mistake, guys. That is a huge mistake. Again, like, oh, we get off the Shadow Ball anyway. The thing is, guys, the opponent's going to get the farm down with Azu. So this could just be over. They're going to get the farm down. Does the opponent have the move or not? They get off the move. I was so mad at this point. How have I thrown this match? They go for an Ice Beam, and the counter goes for an KOs. Dude, like, I made that as awkward as possible. All I had to do was Shadow Ball the Trevenant, or Shadow Ball the Reggie, and that was game over. But for some reason, I was like, oh, they're not swapping, maybe I'll get this move off quickly. It's just stupid, bro. It's just way too naive. When you're playing at a higher level, you can't be naive like that. It's just naivety, thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get the Seed Bomb off, okay, I'm taking out the Sarge. No, it's not gonna happen, bro. Like, they're gonna catch. You have to be aware of it. And it almost cost me there, but we do manage to take that match. Now, in this next match, we're playing a Go Championship winner, Nickname. Very good player. We're going to go for these Stone Edges, and again, this is where Clodsire, this is where it really shines in this matchup, because as you're seeing here, the opponent, yeah, they can go for these Flame Charges or Flies, but we're able to get off multiple moves. All I need to do is basically shield up. I'm going to go for like just a slight overfarm. I'm going to go for to and fro, just so I can hopefully get to a move on Lantern. They will probably spark us the whole way down, which will be kind of awkward. They're going to get an absolute ton of energy, but hopefully we can get off this Earthquake here. Yeah, so look at this, the sparks are not really adding up. Super resisted, double resisted sparks, and we're able to get off this move. So the opponent's going to spark us the whole way down, or so I thought. We're going to get to the next Stone Edge, and the opponent ends up CMPing us on the Stone Edge. That is the power of Clodsire right there. The opponent was actually forced to dump energy, otherwise they were going to get Stone Edge. Now in comes Chargebug. This is a decent match here in the zeros, and this is quite a funny little thing here. My play here is quite obvious, Shadow Ball, and then swap. So they free Discharge here, knowing that I'm just going to swap into Poly. Very smart play there, but it's just over. I think they were just kind of doing that just to show me that they knew I was going to do that, if that makes sense. So yeah, good games, and you know, we lost lead, but they just didn't have a good answer to Clodsire in the back. Poliwrath versus Basti. You love to see it, folks. You absolutely love to see it. We're going to start punching this thing in the face. In comes a Razor Leaf Tropius, and I decide I'm going to keep my Clodsire alive, just in case I need another answer to Basti. I'm also thinking, because we've seen one grass type, we'll probably see another one here, so I kind of want to spend my Trevenant here if possible. Basically look to farm it the whole way down with Trevenant, and come out and get out multiple Shadow Balls here. Yeah, so we're farming it the whole way down. No doubt they'll come back in with Basti, but at this stage, guys, you know, even though Poliwrath is such a good match, whenever they get an overfarm and make things awkward, you do like to get them quite low if possible. Now, if I was able to swap out with the Shadow Ball, I definitely would have, but of course the timers are still not up. They're just up now, but at this point it's like there's no point swapping. 1 or 2 counters will KO. I decided to stay in here and go for an Icy Wind with Poly, knowing that even from this health range, this is enough health on Poly to take care of the other thing, and it means Clodsire only has 1 shield to get through. This matchup right here really reinforces my decision to put Trevenant into the Tropius, because this can hang in way better than Trevenant. Basically, Victory Bell just shields and farms down Trevenant, whereas Clodsire is even able to eat the Leaf Blade and still get off 2 Stone Edges, so definitely a huge difference here. Unfortunately, it is CMP, but this game is just basically over. The opponent is going to have a very, very tough time farming me down, although we are getting quite low, and Smackdowns do chunk. We're going to see what happens here. Yeah, these Smackdowns are doing absolutely nothing to the Clodsire. The opponent's forced to throw. And at this point, guys, I think we even still... maybe we don't live a Stone Edge anymore, but it was game over. They had no energy, so... Good games, guys. We went 4-1 on that final set. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, subscribe if you have not done so already. And of course, if you want to support the channel, become a channel member. And of course, join our community in the description down below. 2480, decent elo. A little screenshot for the boys. Let's go. We're screenshotting our 2480 elo. Honestly, this season, like, I'm happy enough staying around a decent range. Like, you know, I had my fun. Climbed up to the leaderboards at the start of the season. If I'm just messing around, playing over Christmas holidays, just kind of not fully concentrating and staying around this elo, I'm pretty happy. I just don't want to have another sort of bout in the pits. So hopefully the limited metas are quite good to us for the rest of the season here. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.